Good morning, everyone. So one of the questions I always get, especially when a new operating system comes out, is what's the differences? Well, here I have on my screen, and these are virtual machines. Remember, these are computers inside of computers. As you see here, this is Windows 7, which has been retired for a good long time. For those who are still using Windows 7, please come see me. Let's get you into a newer computer. This is Windows 10 down here. You're probably familiar with it with this wonderful logo here. And if you kind of look in the background, you might be able to see that's what I'm currently running on my computer as well. This is Windows 11 here. So the differences, obviously, is the ability to customize. So the Windows 7 and Windows 10, I just loaded them up as a virtual machine and left their default parameters. And so, yeah. But you can, on the Windows 11 machine, you can make the changes to personalize it. And I think the pretty color is this one. That's the default screen for Windows 11. So obviously Windows 11 is prettier. The biggest thing you're going to know right off the bat, obviously with Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, well, not really Windows 8. I didn't create a Windows 8 application for this video simply because Windows 8 is a pain in the butt. You have to, because Windows 8 was driving to the corners to make it work. I understand why Windows did that. They were trying to appeal to the younger generation. Absolute failure. So we don't really discuss it. It's like that other one called Vista. We really don't discuss operating systems that were notoriously bad. So anyways, with Windows 7, obviously your start button is here. It's the round one here. It gives you this menu option. Windows 10, if you're familiar with it, you know how it works. You got the white flag down here and you click it. That's your menu. Windows 11, you have a blue flag and it's in the center of your screen. So there it is, and it pops up in the center. That's the difference though for that. So if you're buying a new computer as of earlier this, or the last part of last year, but if you're buying a new computer, look at the operating system that's listed on the box. Make sure you understand that if it's Windows 10, you've got about 3.5, 4 more years on it before it is retired. Windows 11 is new. This is the difference between the two so far. As you can see with Windows 11, the menu pops up in the center. The toolbar is centered. It has a different screen. Windows 10 is on the left. Its menu bar pops, or the start menu pops up on the center. So with Windows 10, you always went up into power to do, shut down, restart, so on and so forth. Over here on Windows 11, it's a little bit off to the right. And so you'll see it here, it says power, and it gives you those options. With Windows 11, things are not where they're supposed to be. Go figure. So if you're one of those old school persons, kind of like I am, who your favorite option is the control panel. On Windows 10, or on Windows 7, you can see you can get right to it. Windows 11, you had to kind of look, or Windows 10, you had to look for it a little bit. But most people had this wonderful search box down here. You could just type in control panel, and it popped up. Windows 11 does have that capability. The search bar is not there, which is a shame, but they included it up here. So if you click up here, click too many times, you type in control panel, there it is. So your control panel has not gone away yet, although it has been listed that is going away because Microsoft doesn't want you to use the control panel anymore. They want you to use settings. So let's go look at settings. This is settings in Windows 10 or Windows 11. Of course, you all know what the settings look like in Windows 10. And yes, it's not activated because I just loaded it up. And of course, Windows 7 did not have a control panel, or it didn't have a settings button. You had to use everything through the control panel. So, as you can see, with Windows 10, it kind of looks like this. I don't have this updated because it's not activated. I don't have all the updates installed, but it's generally the same concept. It's kind of like this layout. Windows 11 is this way. And so it's prettier. But everything is still there the way it's supposed to be. You know, there's notifications and notifications. I see it over here somewhere. On the newer one, it has one that says notifications specifically. I know it's there somewhere. But anyways, everything that's here is in Windows 11 and a little bit more. Again, just to make you aware of the differences. If you're still using Windows 7, again, if you're using it for shopping and banking and stuff like that, you really need to get away from it because it is an obsolete operating system, has been retired for many years now. Even if you're using Google Chrome and Firefox, eventually they are no longer going to be supported. In fact, I don't think they are supported anymore on Windows 7. There's only so far you can go. And eventually those are going to run out. So yeah, so Windows 10 should be the operating. You could still use Windows 8 if you are using Windows 8. Let me pop this back open here. There we go. So if you are still using Windows 8, again, that's fine if you like it. You don't have to go out and buy a brand new computer. If your computer is capable of upgrading from Windows 7 to Windows 10, Windows 8 to Windows 10, certainly that's a way to get another few more years out of the life of your computer before we have to worry about replacing it, especially if it still functions. If you're using it lightly, checking your email, looking at Facebook, and stuff like that, where you're not hammering the computer's equipment, internal equipment, very hard, then obviously going from 7 to 10 is a good option. And it gives you 4 more years of life on the laptop. Upgrading up to Windows 11. Yeah. If your computer is eligible to do it, you'll get a notice in your updates that says that your computer is eligible for the Windows 11 upgrade. Just a suggestion. You got a whole year on it. That's what they did for Windows 10. You got a whole year to make that decision. However, if you blow it off now, they may not get around to offering it to you again. It is a free upgrade for the first year. So if your Windows 10 can go up to Windows 11, and you think you can make the transition okay, by all means, consider doing it. That way you are ahead for security purposes. Otherwise, like I said, expect to replace your computer in about 3.5, 4 years. So yes, and the other thing I wanted to demonstrate with the virtual machines is the fact that one good machine can actually run multiple computers at a time. And this is for those people who need to stay on Windows 7, or I have clients who are still using Windows XP. Buying pieces and parts for those old computers to keep them running is getting harder and harder. In fact, I just got a client who's using point of sales terminals at their business. They're using 15-inch screens. You know, that used to be the gold standard forever ago. But now these 15-inch screens that they need for their particular equipment, it costs more to them. It costs more to fix them now, and then when you do find them to buy replacements, they are ungodly expensive. The screen that we're looking at replacing for one POS is $600. Where if you were just to go out and buy monitors, you know, at Best Buy, Staples, online, whatever, you can probably get it for $100. So yeah, just to be aware of that. If you're maintaining old equipment, it's about to get ungodly expensive, and you might not be able to maintain it for much longer because parts are getting harder and harder to find. This is where a virtual computer can come in, especially if you're only doing software-driven applications. For example, if you're using an ancient version of QuickBooks. I have one client until last year and a half ago when he sold his business, he was still using QuickBooks 97, which required Windows XP, and he bought a brand new computer. I ended up having to create him a XP virtual machine just to run his QuickBooks. Yeah, so if you have ancient software that you are using, you know, especially if it ties in with something that you have to do, Yeah, I could probably create you a virtual machine and make it work. If it's software only, if it's going to tie into a piece of equipment like a sorting machine or paint, looks at paint and determines the color, um, where you have to hook up equipment to it, that may or may not work well on a virtual machine. It's one of those things that we'd have to test to see if it's possible. Certainly it doesn't hurt. Like the one company I've got, they've got a sorting machine. It has a dedicated PSI card for running the machinery. Ironically, on a Windows 10 using an XP virtual machine, it works. The cameras work, the flippers work, and so they're able to keep that machine alive through a virtual machine because of that. Now and the nice thing about a virtual machine, you can turn it off, back it up, so you don't have to worry about losing your data. But in this particular case, for that particular client, the sorting machine worked through a virtual machine. That may not be the case. If you have an old AutoCAD program or like a laser cutter, or a computer-aided lathe machine or a drill press, it may or may not work on XP virtual machines or not. Won't know until you actually do it. Because the equipment has got to be able to talk to the software. And although, you can do that by adding the removable devices, sometimes it doesn't work. The communication doesn't work on the virtual machine. So the only way to know for certain is to actually do it. But yeah, I just want to, excuse me. But I wanted to show, people was asking, what's the difference? There you go. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. If you could use Windows 7, you can use Windows 11. It's not, the learning curve is not too difficult. I know people complain about change. I don't like change either. To this day, Windows 7 was probably one of the best Windows operating system, next to, or maybe even better than Windows XP. But change is inevitable. Technology changes, security protocols change, and this is why you have to make this change. Microsoft puts out these operating systems every 10 years with a 5-year overlap, roughly. So, yeah, if you're using a personal laptop for your own personal use, you can get Windows 11 if it's eligible to you. If you're using it in a business setting where you need something like AutoCAD, or you're running some machinery, you can certainly give us a call. We'll see if a virtual machine will fit your needs. And then if that's the case, we'll create the virtual machine, we'll transfer the files over, and go from there. The nice thing about VMware, they do have an application to virtualize a machine. I've done this for one client who has closed up their business and retired. But for data retention policies, he wanted to get rid of the computer, but he didn't want to get rid of the computer. You understand that. So with VirtualWare, I was able to virtualize that entire computer, the hard drives, the settings, so all the way down the list. And so if he ever had a question, if it ever came up for it, and I think he's got another 4 years to go for data retention. If it ever became a question, he's got the virtual player on his computer. Only thing he's got to do is load it up from a flash drive, and it would load up, and everything like if the business was actually running is there. QuickBooks is there, orders, invoices, so on and so forth. So on those older machines, if the machine will allow the virtual VMware cloning software or virtualization work, we can virtualize your machine that way, and hopefully then that would work with your equipment. But yeah, I wanted to demonstrate this as a question we get a lot, especially when a new operating system comes out. What's the difference? Not a whole lot. Seriously. Things are not where they're at. They're not supposed to be. So you'll have a learning curve in that particular aspect. But overall, they're the same. So with the exception of Windows 8, with that that we don't discuss. Because it was just the oddball out of the family. So yeah, there you go. Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. I have these on virtual machines. If you need a virtual machine, if you want to test drive one for your own use, contact us. Bring me your laptop or your PC. I'll pop it on there. You can try it out and see what you think. Like I said, because unfortunately, you're not going to be doing gaming on a virtual machine. It's just not set up for that. I'm sure, though, the ancient games may play. So if you were going to play on Windows 7, Windows 7, if you want to play the original Halo Classic, on the Windows 7 virtual machine, you probably could do it because it's old enough to do it. But yeah, you're not going to play high-end. You're not going to play high-end games on a virtual machine. Sorry. This is more personal and business applications. Sorry, gamers. You're stuck with a desktop. And those are getting expensive. I just quoted out a gaming rig for a client, $2,000. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what I said. $2,000 just for the desktop to play the games they wanted. So yeah, prices are going up, unfortunately. So here you go. Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. They're just physically, aesthetically different. Pretty much everything else works the same. Some things are not exactly the same spot. Like I said, with the talk of Windows 11, they're talking about getting rid of the control panel. It's not going to go anywhere. It's embedded into the operating system. It might be hard to get to, but somebody somewhere will make a little hack to make that work. Anyways, phone call. Gotta go. You guys have a great day. Talk to you later.